G'day, my name's Dan Webber and I'm the Mental Fisherman. This is my brand new YouTube channel in which I'm going to cover my mental health struggles, how I used fishing to save myself after a massive breakdown, and how I use it in my day-to-day, week-to-week life to manage my mental health struggles. Now I am going to jump into my story about where way back when my struggles first started, and how it sort of built up in me, and how life pressure and work pressure and all that sort of stuff basically got on top of me, got around me to the point where I actually had a massive breakdown and actually fronted to emergency hospital in the emergency wing and thought I was actually dying. G'day folks, and welcome to the Mental Fisherman. Now before we kick off with this very first episode of the Mental Fisherman, I just need to add a word of warning. You are likely to hear in these videos, in these episodes, talk about mental health, references to mental health, suicide and things like that. Now some of that can be very, very hard to listen to, and if you're having some really big struggles with that sort of stuff, I really do implore you to reach out to somebody to talk about it, whether it be a friend or family member or somewhere like Lifeline or the Black Dog Institute or something like that. I just need to throw that in because this stuff is going to get pretty bloody heavy. Now the idea behind the Mental Fisherman is to try and help people who might be struggling with mental illness, and to share my story as to how I got through it and what I do now to keep the demons in check, keep the black dog on the leash. Now this is going to be fairly candid sort of stuff. It's coming from the heart, and if you see me get a little bit emotional as I am speaking to you, that's because sometimes it hurts. This is heavy stuff, and I have been through some pretty heavy struggles. But I think it's important to talk about it. I think it's important to share my struggles and the strategies that I used and the people that I reached out to basically get myself to where I am now. And although, yes, I'm sitting here and I am cracking up a bit, I am strong enough to push through. I've been through the ringer a bit when it comes to mental illness. And that's probably what you're sort of seeing right now is some of the scar tissue from that. But I can assure you that you will get through it. There is ways to help yourself. There is ways to reach out to other people to get help. You will get through it. So I'm going to get into a little bit of my story on this very first episode. These are only going to be These are likely to be only fairly short episodes, and I am going to start with telling my story from way back when, even as a child, how I had some sort of interesting struggles back then, and how that sort of manifested itself into what was pretty much a mental breakdown in my adult life. And I do it like to my kids and my wife. And my family and friends that are watching this, I'm sorry. It's going to be hard. But to each and every one of you that have helped me along the way, thank you. Well, this is way harder than I expected it to be. So the Mental Fisherman is going to be about my story, my struggles and how I got here, how I worked through, what I did in my work life, what I did in my personal life, and what I did in my recreation time to basically evolve myself and build a toolbox full of tools to be able to overcome my mental struggles. Obviously I am a passionate angler, which is why the channel is called The Mental Fisherman. Now, fishing has helped me. It's more or less been a part of my life for as far as I can remember, and I've really leaned on it heavily to be able to overcome some struggles in my life. And that's why there is going to be a lot of points in this that are anchored in fishing, angling, whether it be the socials thing where you've got some people absolutely going nuts and ragging people out about the way they fish and things like that. And keeping in mind that I do come from the era when side scan was cheating. So, I've got a bit of history behind me, so I can talk about that in future episodes. But I'm going to talk about, expectations and realities around what you'll see on the socials compared to what the actual reality is for a lot of those people. How you don't see the tough sessions and things like that, and how not to build your own expectations about what you're seeing on social media. I'm going to go through things like how I've rearranged my work. I run my own business, and there is struggles in that. There is a lot involved with running your own business. It's a plumbing business with a couple of employees. How I've adapted that business to counteract some of those struggles along the way and make that work a lot easier. We're going to talk about family. We're going to talk about booze. We're going to talk about drinking too much and how much that can weigh you down. I'm going to interview some people that are in the field of helping people, different organisations, and things like that that are in the fishing industry, but also help people who are struggling with mental illness on a number of different levels. So that's what this channel is going to be all about, guys, and I really do appreciate you being here. I'm actually going to end this one right now because I really just wanted to get on and introduce what this channel is going to be all about. And I'm not going to apologise for being emotional because I think it's important for us to all share. I will never say that I'm cured as such. I do have sometimes daily struggles with mental illness, but I have been able to build myself up despite what you might have seen here, and you might be thinking to yourself, wow, this guy's absolutely losing it. I do have a very handy toolbox to help me with those struggles, as well as surrounding myself with some amazing people, some great friends, and my amazing family who help me day to day, week to week, month to month to get through those struggles, and for that I will always be grateful. Anyway, that's going to do us, guys. Thanks for watching this very first episode of The Mental Fisherman.